Hey everybody, Pacers insider Dustin DePirac, Colts insider Joel Erickson helping us out for the NBA Finals. Thunder 111, Pacers 104. Big time collapse for the Pacers in the fourth quarter. They lose the fourth 31-17. Pacers seemed like they were in control of this, and they were in control of this, and they were really in control of the series. Basically, up 2-1 going into this. Really thought they were going to go up 3-1, especially the way the Pacers have closed out in this series. The fourth quarters, they were I think they had outscored the Thunder by 27 in the first three games in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the rally back in game one to obviously win it just ahead of the buzzer. Game three they were really able to put a gap in that one. This time they come in 87-80 lead. Just seemed like they were in control. Seemed like they had really worn the Thunder out. But collapsed late. Basically 5 of 18 from the floor in the fourth quarter. I think it was 0 of 8 from 3. Just seemed like they lost their rhythm entirely. I mean, just what do we see? How did this happen, basically?
Yeah, in the first three quarters, a lot of the ball movement that you're used to seeing from the Pacers, a lot of skip passes, ball going across the court. It felt like the further you got into the fourth quarter, if Halliburton didn't have a lane to the basket, because he went to the basket, he got to the basket a lot tonight, it kind of got stuck there at the top of the key, and they would try dribble handoffs or whatever, but it never really penetrated, and then you get a bad jump shot at the end of the shot clock. It's kind of what it felt like, especially late in this game.
Right. Now, Halliburton just kept saying that they were just a little bit too stagnant, not enough movement. Basically, everybody in the locker room said more or less that. There was just a lot of stagnance there. And, obviously, the Thunder had to make some of that happen. I think some of it was matchups. When I asked Tyrese, because he said, basically, we weren't moving the ball enough. It got stuck. Put that on me. And I was like, okay, well, what did they do? Because they must have done something. He pointed to smaller lineups. I thought it was an interesting move on the Thunder's part in this game. They changed their starting lineup at the beginning of the series. They've been going with that two big lineup, 2 7-footers, Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, all the way through these playoffs and going back a lot in the regular season. They haven't defended that way. They've put a fourth guard out there in Cason Wallace, or a fourth sort of wing player, or just perimeter player, more or less, with Holmgren, and brought Hartenstein off the bench for most of the series. They switched that up today. Basically, things hadn't gone the way that they wanted to. But it seemed like that what happened was they played into the Pacers' hands in terms of giving Pascal Siakam some options. So I think that's the one thing you don't get with that two big lineup is somebody that can guard him, because there's just not an obvious guy. Jalen Williams kind of can, but he's given up some size a little bit. Siakam's got a little bit more size on him, so it's about 6'8". I think Williams goes about 6'6". Siakam has more weight, he's got more wingspan, the whole bit. He's been able to really take advantage of that, even with him. But you can play them bigger with the Holmgren, but he can get past that guy, and he can get some easy layups. And just they were able to create a lot of good mismatches with him. They went back to playing 4 wing guys or 4 perimeter guys. Played Alex Caruso 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. Cason Wallace really struggled in this game, but I thought Caruso did a heck of a job. But it just seemed like lineup-wise, they were able to just bust a lot of stuff up. I mean, it just seemed like the Thunder were what you expected them to be defensively in the fourth quarter, more than they have been all series. I think another thing that stood out was the way the Thunder handled the Pacers' pressure in a way. It seemed like they were having problems with all game, and then suddenly they didn't in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and a lot of that felt like came down to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's kind of polarizing the way he plays.
Sure.
But also he's led the league in free throws made the last 3 years, so it's clearly something you should know about going in. It felt like Rick Carlisle kind of alluded to that a little bit. I know Tyrese Halliburton absolutely felt like they fouled too much. There were some cheapies in there, which you can look at it as, you can look at those two ways. You can look at it as the ref gave up a cheapie. You can also look at it as Pacers should know better than to put themselves in that position. I think one with Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah, he just had his hand out a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It was a very cheap looking one. I don't know if it was Nesmith's 5th or his 6th, but he was like looking up at the scoreboard, man, like, you got to be kidding me. And like, that's going to be a thing, and they know. And so, I mean, I remember when I talked to them in the locker room after they got beat by the Thunder in March, basically, and they were coming out of there saying, that's the best team on the planet. One thing Nesmith and Nemhard and Halliburton all said is, like, he knows how to draw those fouls. Like, that's a skill. I mean, you can complain about it all you want, but ultimately it's a skill, and it's a skill that he's the best at. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is probably second on that list, and they were just dealing with him, and they knew going into this that Shai's the best at this. And, he's going to get a foul out of limited contact. He's going to be able to sell it. Number one, he's going to make a point of making sure everybody sees it, but he's going to, when your hand is in a place that it's not supposed to be, he's got a way to get the ball there to make sure you make contact with body, with wrist, with hand, with arm, with something like that, to basically put you in trouble for having put your hands there. I thought another thing that was interesting in this game, as far as just dealing with Shai was concerned, Nemhard exhausted him, and to the point that the Thunder decided to just say, all right, Shai's not going to bring the ball up for a while. And I thought Jalen Williams did a heck of a job of doing that, basically, against Neesmith. Neesmith still fought him, but Williams didn't turn the ball over, and he at least gave Shai a couple of quarters where he didn't have to bring the ball up. And I thought he really looked exhausted in the second and third quarter. You saw him get a second win. I thought that was a big reason why, is that they decided not to force him to do it, let him run up the floor, let him start away from the ball, and come get the ball. And just not have to turn 3 or 4 times, rather than how much it takes to just get past them, hard to get the ball up the floor. Let his legs rest a little bit. I thought that was a big piece of this game, they were able to get kind of a juiced up version of Shai down the stretch. I thought that was really, really key. Just a couple, it just seemed like those small things really made a difference in this series.
Yeah, I think one other thing, Myles Turner, 0-6 from 3. You know,
that's good looks.
It had really good looks, including one late.
Yeah.
There was one late where they got down to the shot clock. He gets a good
Pretty
look.
Clean.
He's 2 of 15, I think, over the last 3 from 3-point range. Obviously, he can make those shots, but if he's not, it hurts.
It does. I mean, he's made a lot in the playoffs, and I think coming in, he was somewhere around 38% for the whole entire playoffs. Has struggled the last couple games. Obviously, illness has something to do with that. You know, your legs go, that kind of thing. I thought he was more energetic in this game and started off shooting the ball pretty well early. Hit a couple mid-range shots to get going, but I think he only hit the 1-3. I think that was pretty early, if I'm not mistaken. Just didn't seem to have his legs under that in general. I mean, they didn't really have their legs under the three-pointers at all in the fourth quarter. They shot it really well to start the game. I think they forwarded the first 5, 0 of 8 in the fourth quarter. I don't know what they were out of. They started 4 of 5, but it was bad. You know, whatever it was bad. Obi Toppin hit a couple, but for the most part, a lot of missed three-pointers down the stretch there. I will say after this, I thought going into this game, I was thinking, okay, whoever wins this game wins the series. And I figured if the Thunder win this and won it handily, I would think, okay, they're going to turn this thing around. I come out of this feeling like I have no idea what's going to happen in the last 3 games. None whatsoever. I mean, do you get the same feel? Because I have no idea what's going to happen going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 2 games now in this series where it felt like one team was going to win and then the other team did. We've seen 2 games where one team is in control. They've split split those games. I feel like the Pacers can score at a pace that the Thunder frankly aren't used to.
Sure. They're not.
And if Jalen Williams doesn't have that big game, you know, I don't know where some of the scoring is coming from.
Sure.
But the flip side of that is we've seen several periods where the Pacers can't score because of OKC's defense. And so it feels like a toss-up to me too.
Yeah, the only thing I'm not sure if the Thunder have the endurance for 3 more games like this. That's the only thing that makes me question them. They're a terrific team. Can they dial it up like they did in that fourth quarter in another quarter in the series? I mean, because I just think the Pacers exhaust you. They wear you out, and I think it's showing. I think that the team that looks more conditioned at this point, it looks like it has more juice left, is the Pacers. But, we'll see. It could go any way. It's certainly going to be difficult for the Pacers to go out and win a game on the road. The Thunder, you certainly imagine that place is going to be lit up. We'll see what happens, but, I mean, it's an even series. It's 2-2. It's best 3 down the stretch. We'll see what goes on. Thanks again, everybody.